Hello. It's been an afternoon. I'm so glad that you're here. We are talking about um, deciding what to paint, keeping you from painting. Is deciding what to paint keeping you from painting? That happens to me. It happens to me a lot. I've made some purchases. I received a gift, and I think I have a way that I can get around that. Today, one of the things we're going to be talking about is, yes, the color cubes by Sarah Renae Clark, a fellow artist here on YouTube. No relation. There's a lot of Clarks, but anyways, at least as far as I know, there's no relation. Anyhow, I've seen these. You guys have seen them. I'm sure you've seen them. If you haven't, Sarah Renae Clark has put together a collection of images and palettes that would go with those images. And I'm going to say hello to everybody in the chat in just a second. So I have been looking at them for a while. Now, Sarah is like a pencil, primarily a colored pencil artist. I am not. Although, excuse me, I do have an obscene amount of colored pencils, yes. It's not typically what I do here for you guys on the channel. And I thought, when I looked at them, I was like, oh, they even have feature, and I'll show you everything in a moment, but they even have a feature that is great if you are a digital artist. If you like to do digital art, all the hex codes for the colors are included. So any color you see, you could immediately bring that palette into something you were doing digitally. I think that is amazing. That's fantastic. It was just some great attention to details there. And I have the set 1 and set 2. It also can come with like the companion for online. There is a link in the description below. Once I saw these, because I have to, just for complete transparency, Sarah did not send these to me, but I was sent these and asked could I review them. And again, I had been interested in them since I first saw them, but I thought, how are they going to work with how I create? How am I going to justify getting these with what I do? And are they going to be a benefit to me? Once I saw them, once I got them and had them in my hands and opened them up and looked at them, I was like, oh, I know exactly how I want to use these. And yeah, I can't wait to show them to everybody. So I reached out to Sarah and put in, excuse me, put in to be affiliated with her to share these with you, because I can see myself using these quite a bit in the future. And yes, that link in the description will be an affiliate link. If you end up getting these, you know, yes, the channel will get a small percentage back from Sarah Renae Clark. So, and a huge thank you to her, because she is very generous with the artists who help her spread the word about these color cubes. So these here, each one comes with, okay, so this says it's volume 2. So I've opened up volume 2 first. So there are like 500 cards in here, and I won't go through them really in depth because I think a lot of you've probably seen these before. And if you haven't, you know, drop a message in the comment, and just so that I will see it. If you have a question today that you want to ask me, excuse me, if you could type question, or maybe if you just have a statement, if you could just type the letter Q and a colon, that will be short and sweet. It'll be really fast. Because if you type the letter Q and a colon, that is searchable and it will generate on my side through my software. And I won't miss your questions then, because I've missed a couple questions in the past. And I feel bad when I miss some of your questions because chat's going and I don't get to see it all. So there are 500 cards in here. And I will take you to the desk so we can really have a look at those. But these are, so using a color palette, right? The color names provided are an approximate description of each color. So not necessarily the actual, color name. And there are over 1,000 color categories included. Now, when you get the digital version with this, you'll get to see these. You can print these. You would be able to like print it out and now have it, you can use these as references. Wildflower says, what's on the cards? I'm going to absolutely, I will show you that. I'm going to show you that in just a moment. Excuse me, because I am sorry, guys. Literally just before I was going to hit go, I looked down at my water and I was like, oh no, we're painting today. And I didn't clean my water, and floating on the top was all kinds of metallic stuff because Joseph, is Joseph here? Has Joseph checked in? Your package is on its way. And I had gold and silver and copper, like all in my water. And anyhow, it's much better now. But that meant I had to run up and down stairs, and my asthma does not do running. So anyways, let me just show you one of these. So this is card number 251. And you see there, like, look at this scene. I see this and it's like fall, right? And here's the color palette. So Sarah has gone through and picked out like the prominent colors in the image for the color palette. Now, on the back of these, you get, again, the color names are approximates. So it says black, crimson, orange, amber, and platinum. They're not all going to line up with what you would hear me say all the time, like your phthalo green, your phthalo blue, your ultramarine. Like, you're not going to hear that necessarily. But again, right here are your hex numbers. So if you are a digital artist, these numbers, when you grab the eyedropper and you go to your reference photo and you click on one of the little pixels, and it'll pick that one color and it'll tell you a number that represents that color. Well, these are the numbers that represent this color. And so when you look on this side, you'll see that the color here and the color here, those are the same. And then you have a tint. I always have to stop and think. Shade is dark. So a tint of the color on the inside. So like when we do tints, like when we're working with pastels, a tint has white added to it. A shade has black added to it. And you can see here, that's just what it looks like in all of those. So they show you the tint, the shade, and the actual color. And of course you have the color here and you have the colors here. But putting them right out to the edge like this really is going to help you. Here's where it's going to help us as watercolor artists. And those of you who are watercolor artists, or maybe you like to work in pencils too, this can help you with that as well. This is an old one, but here is my old swatch card for my Daniel Smith palette. There's so many more colors than that now. We will talk about that soon too. And let me just bring you so I can have you over to the desk and I can see you at the same time. Okay. So with the color out to the edge, when I am trying to choose my palette, like say I want to paint this, or maybe I don't want to paint this, but this palette inspires me and I want to paint something with this. Like this to me, all right, I know you guys probably would never believe this, but I look at this palette and I think, oh my gosh, look, this color and this color. I can paint some birch trees with that. And look at the pretty fall leaves that are going to be on them. Birch trees leaves actually kind of look a little bit like these. I could paint a scene with birch trees with this palette. No problem. I wanted to do something like that. You know, you have the white border here, but when you flip it over, the color goes to the edge. So I can line that up and say, well, my burnt orange isn't exactly that orange, but it's pretty close. And, you know, I'd have to look to find out, what am I going to use for crimson? Well, my burnt sienna, I might be able to work with crimson. I have colors now that would absolutely match this and work, and that's fine. But you're going to go through, right? There's my black. That's sparkly. I don't want to use that. That's iridescent moonstone. But as far as like this color here, I could even take, say, my lamp black and probably like really, really thin, maybe get to there. Or perhaps I want to add just a touch of white in with that, or my white with just a touch of that black in to get this gray. But you see what I'm saying? It can help you choose your colors. Now that helps you with color choosing, but I said in the beginning of this that deciding what to paint is what was keeping us from painting. That can be so very true, because sometimes we will sit there and we will think we will do this. I'm going to paint today. I'm going to move these for just a moment, right? So I'm going to paint today. I have been doing this all week long, and that's what created the necessity for me to have this video and this chat with all of you. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to paint. All right, I need to paint with I have certain paints that I have to paint with for a couple videos that are coming up. So I had those paints out. I had my paper out, and so I'm looking at this. And let's just grab a palette, right? And I'm looking like this. And then I sit here and I go like this. And I stare at my page. And I stare at my palette. Because sometimes for me, looking at my palette, looking at the colors in my palette, taking my palette's swatch card and just kind of looking at these colors, sometimes things will jump out at me. And then when that happens, I'm like, yes, that would look great. I'll paint whatever it is. And sometimes I just sit there and go, maybe it's not the palette for me. Maybe I need to pick something else. And I'm staring at that blank page, and it's like paralysis. And that's what we are going to do today. We are going to cure the blank page paralysis. So I have done a few things in my effort to make it so that this isn't going to happen to me in the future. And I hope that you guys are going to find this helpful and that it will work for you as well. So the first thing I've done, depending on the subject that I pick, I have not tried the Meeden rough paper yet. So I have that out here. I haven't even pulled the plastic off it yet. Okay. So I haven't even pulled the plastic off of it yet. First thing I'm doing is I'm saying I want my favorite paper to work on. Okay, because remember, I've got blank page paralysis. I don't know what I want to paint. I just know that, darn it, I want to paint something. And aside from, and this is an absolute valid way that you can get past this sometimes, aside from just taking a piece of paper, and I probably wouldn't take one of my Meeden cotton sheets. I would probably grab this guy for that. I just opened a brand new, look at that. I've got through another one of these. So this is another new one. But I would grab my pad of Be Inspired paper, and I would grab my favorite paints that I just love to paint with because I just love the way they move on paper. And I would just start throwing color down and see what happens, because usually that will break that cycle and get me started. And then if I say, oh, I would really love to paint whatever, then I would grab my favorite watercolor paper, my favorite paints, and I would be off. But today I thought, I want to paint. I have no idea what I want to paint. I don't have the time to to guess and try to figure it out and overcomplicate things. So I said, I'm going to pull a Joseph and I'm going to let you guys help me figure it out. But I'm going to share with you the ways in which we can decide what to paint and prevent that indecision from keeping us from painting. Okay. George, I love it, George. Oh my gosh. George says, and we know you could always paint trees. I would. It would be, that's like my happy place. It's such my happy place just to go and paint some trees or a landscape, even if it's some terrible landscape that could never exist in real life. Proportions are all wrong. For those of you on the creator tier and above that are working with the latest adventure painting lesson that I just released, you'll probably know why I'm laughing if you've had a chance to see that. And I'm just remembering that we were supposed to watch that together live last night, and I forgot it was a Tuesday. Nobody reminded me. So my apologies. We will watch it together. Okay. Grab your favorite paper. And again, I have my meat and cotton paper, and I have the cold press, and I have the rough. I haven't even opened the rough yet because I don't know if I'm going to paint it yet on it, because we don't know if we are, if the subject's going to be something that would work well with rough paper. But I have both of those available. I grabbed my completely disorganized, I have no idea where the colors are. This is going to be so much fun. Daniel Smith palette, which is overflowing. In fact, this also houses, with the exception of a couple, also houses more Daniel Smith colors that I was just sent. And oh my goodness, guys, I still have these that I have to get into, half pans. And I have 6 more colors on their way. I'm like, let me just say, Blick got me yesterday. That $10 gift with purchase I did. I was like, you know what? I want to try these colors. There's 6 more. You know, I'm already in the search for the palette that is going to be the palette that can hold this collection. I think I found it today. I actually sent an email to the company. I'm not gonna, like, no spoilers. If everything works out and I can get my hands on that palette, oh, it's amazing. It is amazing. Wildflower says 6 more colors got us both. Yeah. Okay. Let me take one moment and check in with chat, because you guys have been leaving comments and I don't want to miss anybody. But I grabbed my Daniel Smith, and I'm not going to worry about these today. They're not in pans. I'm sorry. Don't worry. I'll paint with you soon. I have no idea. I swatched these. Oh, where is that? Oh, I do have my book up here. I swatched these so I can show you what the new colors that are in this palette looks like. I didn't even write down their color names. I just swatched them. I was like, yeah, I'm bored. This is what I need to do. I was in a bad headspace this past weekend, and I just needed to paint. And so again, it was like I didn't have time for a big painting or plein air. I just sat down and painted these colors because I needed to get color on paper. Sometimes that works. I also have my Daniel Smith gouache, and oh, can I share this? So you guys remember back when I shared Daniel Smith gouache, and you saw me put it in this palette. Those of you who have been around long enough, you saw me put it in this palette. This has the silicone gasket, right? And it just goes on top there. I keep my little swatch card for my colors. These were all of the original release Daniel Smith gouache. They've released new colors, but I have not gotten them. I just have the original released colors. And so this is actually doubles as like a mixing palette. You guys know I'd rather have the ceramic, but it all hooks in underneath here like so. And then this, well, if I put it on correct, it does. And it all clamps down. And it holds everything together. I had got my sticker when I got my squash. I got my sticker when I got my gouache. But it holds everything, including that palette, all together. And nothing can leak. So, these, they've been sealed in here for a long, long time. Long time. If you guys know, remember back when I did that. But I just wanted to show you how this has held up in this palette. Okay, so I can take the gouache, like, see how it's wanting to, like, that one's wanting to break apart. I can take these out of here. Like, these have dried. They are, they're kind of soft, but they are not molded. They are not, there's no mildew, there's no issues. I can lift these out. I mean, really, if I wanted to right now, I could probably put these in half pans. I won't. I'll leave them in this, I think, for now. But some of them aren't just popping out, but a lot of them have popped out of their space. But the way this palette goes, it keeps them in their sections. And I can just give these a spritz and, you know, they will actually wake up. So let's do that. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I am spritzing my gouache. See, I was just going to grab a regular old water spritzer bottle. I am spritzing my gouache. I am going to want to use distilled water. So that's what's in here. I have some distilled water in my bowl because I knew I was going to be working with gouache. And I just use distilled water because I think it helps keep any nasties out of the gouache. Anything that might, you know, cause any molds or mildews or anything that might go wrong with my gouache that I would want to keep out of there. So, yeah. And I'm just giving these a spritz because, you know what? I might want to use them today. And that brings me back to what I was saying. There we go. I'm just going to call that good enough. And we're going to let those set there and just kind of do their thing. You can dry Daniel Smith gouache down, and then obviously you can re-wet it. I will show you that it works just fine. So I'm just going to put the lid back on this for now, because when I have trouble deciding what to paint, I like to grab my favorite paints. So for me, I'm either going to reach for a core palette or a Daniel Smith palette. I brought the gouache in because, you know, I had some ideas. And I thought, I've had some ideas lately of ways that I want to experiment with some watercolor. And so I brought that into the loop. Okay, so I have my brushes that I like to use. So right now I have the Princeton Velvet Touch, of course, and they all sit right here. And I have my 3 Aqua Elites. Blick missed out. Blick missed out because I got up this morning and I had put the other Aqua Elites in my cart, and I was like, if that $10 gift with purchase is still there, I'm going to get them tomorrow. And so I got up tomorrow and it was there. It was there this morning when I got up. I put everything in, everything was in my cart. I added the coupon to my cart, and it was like, yep, it's in your cart. And I only need to spend like $3 to reach their threshold for that gift with purchase. So, you know, I wasn't going to miss it. And I was like, oh, shoot, I have to run downstairs and put this together because it has to go out in the mail. Joseph, you have mail coming. Okay, it's only going to take 5 minutes. I'll come right back up, and then I'll finish with Blick, and then I'll get my stream stuff squared away, and we're going to have a great day. Right? No. So I was lost downstairs because I got distracted, took an hour and a half, decided to go ahead and get ready, eat something, do whatever I had to do down there, and then I could just be upstairs and completely focused in the studio. And so I came back up, and I was like, oh yeah, I was doing that Blick order. So I go back to Blick, I refresh the site, and the banner's gone. It's gone. Now it's like free shipping with an order over, you know, whatever it is. And I'm like, but the $10. So I'm not buying them right now. So I missed out on the Aqua Elite brushes. I say that they're in my cart. The moment Blick says, hey, we're going to do it again, get a $10 gift with purchase when you spend whatever, I'll just pick them up then. So it's fine. I have plenty of beautiful brushes to play with between now and then. It's perfectly fine. These color cubes come with, right? So we have our little instruction card, how to match colors, hex codes, tints, shades. I already told you guys about that in my own words. The appearance of the color. So please note that due to the differences in how colors appear on screen and in print, colors may appear differently on these cards to the digital catalog and to any digital art you create with the hex codes provided. So, you know, but I think that's kind of common sense, but you know, there's your sign. Okay, so in here is a sticker. So this one is a number 2, and I'm guessing it is going to be so you can identify your box from the outside, but I'm like, where do I want to put it? How do I even peel it? Okay, there it goes. See, it's a 2, but if I put it, am I going to be able to see it if I put it there? Because that's white. Yeah, whatever. I'd rather have it in the white spot. It's 2. Sure, I can see it. Probably never be able to see it. It's fine. Okay, and this one, the white spot is not on the top. So see, I'll be able to see that one. So this is number 1. So we'll just stick that on, maybe we'll stick that on that pretty bright blue corner. Can you guys see it? You guys can't even see it. It's like the pretty bright blue corner. All right, I am going to scroll back and I'm going to try to read really quickly because I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Wildflower says, yay, time to play with color cubes and get inspired. Yes, that is the hope. Okay, I said I was going to do it on the pretty blue one. I think we're going to go just like that. Right, so there's box 1, which I should have like, okay, will it come right off easily? This is how bad, I'm sorry. You guys getting a good peek into the, behind the curtain you might not want to see. I can't have it on that one. If I have it on this one, I want it on this one. So it's got to be the same. If Lou was watching this right now, he was probably laughing. She's not going to leave it there. It's probably what he would be thinking to himself. She won't leave that there. Nope. One in the top right, one in the bottom left. That's just chaos. That can't happen. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right, I can get those out of the way. Now each box has, oh, my skin is itching today. I took my allergy meds, but my skin is still itching like crazy. So there is a card. If I can, it's time to cut all the nails off again because I can't do anything. Like, it doesn't want to come out. There we go. And those are the same. Okay, these for both. Yeah, those are the same. Okay, I'm just gonna stick them. They fit? Yeah, they do. Down in the sides. So color cubes. Again, let's just grab a section and take a look. Because when you can't, and it's gonna be hard for me because I'm gonna be like, oh no. These have to stay in order. They're ordered from, they're 1 to 250 in this box, and then they are 251 to 500 in this box. Okay. Oh, but look at that. When first one I pulled out, gorgeous sunset. Ooh, see, we got a butterfly. Fall. This one makes me think of something that Shanna, Caution Artist at Play, would paint. She does amazing realistic stuff like that with colored pencils. I would just be lost out of my mind doing something like that. Just because the repetitiveness of it. I like the muted color palettes that they grab my attention all the time. Ooh, look at that fall. We have fall leaves. This one, 133, I think this one is gorgeous. Again, I can't see me doing all those oak leaves. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe if I could paint it quickly, I would, you know, but could I follow all my lines once I get them down there? So my point is there are a plethora of things. If you're like, I just don't know what to paint. That was 250. Ooh, look at that. Now see, there's a snowy scene. I would be like that. To me, I could paint quickly and I would be all about doing something like that. Fall. Okay. The reference photos are available. Yes, these you can use. Some of these came from like excuse me, that some of these were royalty free. Some you might look at one and go, yeah, I think I saw that on Pixabay, or I think I saw that on Unsplash, and you know, maybe you have, because these are royalty free images. And yes, when you buy your color cubes, you can use these. So there are just, I mean, everything from food to landscapes. I think we've hit the food section. I am not hungry, so that's good. I hope you guys aren't hungry. Let me see. I'm just going to quickly... Oh, April says, love my color cubes. Excellent. Oh, the chair says kind of quiet. Well, I'm like, that was way long ago, and hopefully I've gotten a bit louder and you guys are hearing me. There's going to be some rearranging of some stuff, so the microphone is one of the things I need to change where I have it, because a few times you guys tell me you can't hear so well. Hi, Rob. Hi, Cadmium Red Feral Kitten. Hi, Erica Sandwall. Art and Diamonds with Eskies is here. George Pencil Art. Started early. I started late, dear. He says, oh, you start early. I was late. What's on the cards? We did that. Yep. What's on the cards? Great. Yes. And including it like that. What's on the cards? Because as we get going, if I need to check the chat, I'm going to type in Q:, and it's going to filter my chat in my program. And that's all I'm going to see. So if it's something that you want me to respond to, make sure you put a Q:, and then I will know that you need that. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. Cadmium Red Feral Kittens have not bought these yet, but they are a great concept. I thought they were a wonderful concept, and I was like, but how am I going to use them in my art? Because see, this is like a lot of colored pencils, and they even have where she has things with the digital stuff where it is, you can look by brand, by pencil brand. So say you use Derwent Lightfast, it'll tell you like the colors are equivalent to what pencil. She's done a lot of work, but again, she's a pencil artist, and that's why one of the reasons why I was like, is this actually something that's going to be for me? Because I'm not a pencil artist. How am I, as a watercolor artist, going to really get super thrilled about these cards? And then I just, all of a sudden I was like, you know what? It can be choosing a palette, or it can be an idea for just like ideas for painting. Okay, there's a lot of food there. I don't care to paint food. That's another thing I don't think I really ever got into, but I'm like, ooh, but look at that. That's gorgeous. Like that would be something. And look, we do actually have a few trees there, like 051. That's kind of inspiring. Maybe I'll pop that one out. Look at that tree. Fall. Like I love the light in here. I can see back here and the lighting back here. One of the things that I'm really starting to focus on is I want to step up my watercolor game in the painting light, bringing light into my paintings. So that's certainly something. Look at this palette. Look at the complementaries here. And look at that, like with the sky and then the distant hills. That's that's pretty too light. That would be something else I would definitely be interested. So there is a whole section on landscapes, which is right up my alley. Ooh, I'm like the moodiness of that one, and yet the light back here in the painting, I like that. So there's so many things. Oh, and yeah, April just says I'm starting to study light and watercolor. Um, let me just yeah, bad at reminding that was 2 days ago. Yeah, Tuesday was 2 days ago. I was like, wait a minute, weren't we supposed to do something Tuesday night? And none of you reminded me on Discord, so I was like, well, apparently I wasn't the only one who forgot about that, because you guys would have reminded me. We would have done it. I had the time. It's just been so busy that I completely forgot. Okay. Utility palette. Oh, the Dolphin Soul. You're talking about this one with my gouache. It's sturdy. It is sturdy as heck. I immediately knew. I was like, because I had that palette and I was like, that's what my gouache is going into. It's not completely full. I could add a couple more Daniel Smith colors of gouache, but I'd be very selective. I don't think I want all the colors. Just you guys gonna laugh, but I don't think I want all the colors just because they have the colors. So let's just glance through. Ooh, look at the water. Again, another subject I like to paint. Ooh, and right there, look at that. Look at the light coming through those trees. It kind of makes me think of my birch trees, my winter birch trees with the sun coming through them. I like that one too. So yeah, 61. I'll have to start writing down numbers like, hey, 61 caught my eye. I haven't really gone through all of these to look at them yet. So it is something that I have to do some more of. But I just wanted you guys to see that there's a, ooh, and how easy would that one be to paint? This would be very easy to paint as well. All right, so 75. I'm pulling 75 aside too. We're going to come up with something and we are going to paint it together today. See that? Those wouldn't be difficult either. I'm just thinking, what can we do in a stream? Because I have a couple of things to show you, and then we're going to pick something and we're going to paint it. And we are going to get past that I can't decide what to paint, keeping us from painting. All right, I got 78 out there. They're definitely going to be, I'll be like, look, at least they have numbered so you can put them back in order. Ooh, look at that one. The sunflower. I'm like, it's funny. Okay, I look at the sunflower and I think, like, Joseph paints beautiful flowers. But I look at the sunflower and I think it would take me so much more time to paint that than it would for me to paint that. Does that make sense? Like this is in my wheelhouse. My brain sees this, it breaks it down. It's like, okay, this is how you're going to throw paint at this and it'll be fine. It's all going to come together. This though, because flowers are just not my thing. I look at that and I'm like, I'd really love to paint that, but oh my goodness, that and all the little petals and the lines and all the texture, that will take me so long to paint. So yeah, I see the way I see things very differently. I was like, I could paint that faster than I could paint that. And you wouldn't think so, but yes, for me. Oh, look at all the tulips. Oh my gosh, look at the tree frog. How cute is that? That is adorable. Okay. So you see, there's definitely something for everybody. There's more stuff with, I think there's buildings and there's animals, there's birds. You have so still life. She really did a great job at pulling together things that would give you such a variety to choose from. So if Color Cube Volume 1 and Color Cube Volume 2 can't help you figure out, oh, I have a whole stack of them here too. I don't know where these went, but yeah, right about there. All right. If those can't help you figure out something to paint, like, I don't know. I just don't know. I definitely think that, let's grab some from the middle of this one just to give you an idea of the other side. And we're just going to look really quickly, right? So still life. That's nuts. But you can still paint it. Look at the old typewriter. Look at that, like monochromatic type. Looks like rock. That's what it looks like. Looks like rock. Row houses. All the clocks. Okay, again, that would not be me. That's like, I don't want to put that puzzle together. I don't want to paint that puzzle. Yeah, no. But this one, I actually have. So this exact reference photo, which I believe is either Pixabay or Unsplash, I not only have this reference photo, I have a digital piece of artwork that I was doing with this reference photo that I've just never finished yet. I say yet, I can go back to it anytime. But yeah, the Kingfisher here. So there are some of these you may look and be like, oh, that's from there. So, and that's going to lead me to the next resource. If you are a channel member, oh my gosh, look at how cute that one is. He looks like he's just having a little party for one. Look at that. That's just water and sunset. Ooh. Oh, 351. I have been looking for a reference photo with clouds with light behind them. If you are in the creator tier, seeing this, I'm putting this aside. I have got some techniques that I've been wanting to share with you. I've literally been taking pictures of clouds constantly as we've been having storms because I needed something backlit like this. And that's perfect. This is going to be your next adventure video, something based off of this. So I'm putting that aside. So if you are not a channel member or a patron at the creator tier, we are working on a series of 100 videos that are watercolor. And the goal is by the end to have greatly improved our skills, all of us, including myself, with watercolor. Each one, I try to focus on something that particular painting can help you get better at, whether it be a technique or skill, whatever the case may be. And I had decided that, I haven't shared this with you guys yet, so here it comes. I decided that our first 1 through 25, those are kind of pretty easy. And they're going to stay pretty easy. Once we get to 26, we're going to step it up a notch. And then when we get to 50, we're going to step it up a notch. And then when we get to 75, we're really going to go all in on the last 25. So it will kind of like, as we do the whole series, it will challenge us to get better and better. And so that's my goal. I hope if that interests you, then perhaps becoming a creator member or patron is something that you would like to do. Look at that one. This reminds me of my, it reminds me of my postcard. Look at the colors in that. Like that color palette, aside from down here, like that's that color palette. Look at that. So very similar. So yeah, that's gorgeous. There's a lot in here. Oh, look, see, there's some more clouds. I'm gonna have to put that one aside too because it's gonna help me. So I hope that you see these as a potential reference that could really help you be able to solve that daunting blank page. When you're sitting there and you're trying to decide what to paint and you just keep staring, look at those colors. You just keep staring at that blank page going, but what am I going to paint? And then the next thing you know, like an hour's gone by and you're like, well, crap, I don't have time to paint now. And then it's kind of frustrating and it's a letdown. And I don't know about you, but I walk away out of the studio. Look at that one. Beautiful layering in there. And yes, oh, look at that one with the little moon, with the moon up top. Oh, that would be so easy to, this would be simple to paint. My friends, I'm getting inspired. I hope you are too. Oh, look at that. The Milky Way. Yeah. Okay. So, let me just say that, oh, look at those. Anybody like painting roses? Joseph has done roses before. cupcakes, paper, dots, umbrellas. There's just such, I mean, there we go. There's some flowers. Look at those, are gorgeous. Still life. There's something for everybody in here. And you know what? There's a lot of somethings. So look at that with the water. Like I said, when I saw these, I was so excited, and I could immediately see, because at first I was like, it's not going to fit into my, I do watercolor. It's not going to fit into what I'm doing very well, right? Like I just immediately had that preconceived. Sarah's colored pencil artist, and this probably isn't going to be something that's for me, because this was designed with colored pencil artists in mind. But actually, this was designed with artists in mind, for sure. I can absolutely say that now, and I'm thrilled to have connected with Sarah on this, and the link is in the description for these if you are interested. I'm going to set these aside. I have a couple pulled out, but I'm going to show you another. Okay, we're going to look at, if I can find a spot to set these down without damaging anything. So we're going to look at another resource that you can have. And let me just see. I don't know if I can pull it in or not. Let me, real quick. It's going to take just a moment because my stuff is saved. If you are again, if you are sorry guys, I'm logging in at the same time. I need to view my profile. Oh, there we go, collections. Okay, that's separate. If you are a creator member, and one of the things that I do for creator members is I share reference photos on Discord, and I do a lot on Discord. Each tier has more channels that open up. There are about 3 to 4 channels on my Discord server that are specific to each tier. So our super fans, they have general access, and they have things like share your artwork and work in progress, behind the scenes. You get that information. I post a lot of stuff behind the scenes, tell you guys what I'm doing. I'm very active on Discord. Announcements are there, general chat is there, and curated collections. Anytime I do a curated collection, I catalog all of the videos that go with each collection on that channel to make everything easy to find. So if you're a creator member, you get reference photos is one of your channels. I share reference photos that I personally take and give you the right to use them in your art. However, let me just share another thing that I share with my creator members. If I can do this live, I've not done this before live. That is not the one I want. Why is that doing that? Hold on. It's a screen share, but that's not the screen I want to share. No, that's not right. Okay, just bear with me, because I want to be able to show you guys what it is. No, I've done this before, but usually it takes me a minute, and I do it before the stream starts. What am I seeing? Quit that. Again, apologies. If I can't get it in a moment, then it won't be done. I'm like, that is chat. Now, how do I turn off? Change. I don't want the entire screen. I want, what does current application give me? Oh, there. Okay, that's what I want. This is the one that I want, right? Is that like showing you guys your chat? Yeah, I don't know why it's showing you your chat. No, we'll just do it like this. Okay, so there we go. On Unsplash. And I don't know if you guys know that you can curate your own collections. So whenever I'm on Unsplash and I see a photo that I'm like, oh, that is really, really well taken. And that might make a great reference. And if you notice here, if you guys can see my little, hopefully you guys can see my little mouse moving, but I'm hovering over the shark. So these here, like I share my collections. I share my collections with patrons so that you can go in, see my collections, and like this is aquatic animals. Let me just see if I can't, I have to do it over here, I believe. Yeah. Okay. So this is aquatic animals. And I have land animals, flowers, lighthouses, birds and butterflies, still life, oceanscapes, waterfalls, plants, cloudscapes, moon, trees, landscapes, lake scenes, sunrise, sunset, seasonal, mushrooms, and bugs and flying creatures. So I have like already started curating, and there's like birds and butterflies. There's 106 images in there. There's 106 images in aquatic animals. There's 96 in land animals. There's so many, and I share these with patrons. This is another source, kind of like the color cubes. You know, the color cubes will help you then pick your palette to paint it. But these, I will get the questions in just a moment, Wildflower. But these here on Unsplash, you can see my collections, and that might help you. They're very well, like when you just think, you know, I want to paint a flower today. You can click that, and it is in the, again, the creators section on Discord. So see here, and that jellyfish is actually coming. We're going to do that one soon. I'm very excited about that one. But that was me looking for sharks from last week. And of course we did our shark last week, but there are a lot of photos in here. Look at that walrus. It's freaking adorable. So yeah, that's just another benefit when you're a creator member. That's something else I share. Let me just make sure before we look at the last thing that I was talking about, and we're going to do a quick painting together, and we're going to get past this, I don't know what to paint. And you guys are going to help me to decide what we're painting. Okay, I am scrolling back because I paused mine so I would be able to just keep going through the things. So let me just make sure. Can you believe it's Thursday? Yeah. Maya says it's Thursday in my head. It was Wednesday. I wish I could go back to Tuesday. While I am looking for questions, just some quick business. Remember, this is the last week that our stream will be at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Next week, it will still be on Thursday, but it will be at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. This might fluctuate a little bit as I get settled in and adjusted to my own new schedule. So it might have to float around a bit, but I always, on the banner on my YouTube channel, it says live streams on Thursdays at, it'll be adjusted there. So if you're not sure and you can't remember, if you just go to the YouTube channel and look, you will see on there when I'm streaming, because I always put that there. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So Boop Peep says some people spritz alcohol to keep mold at bay. Would that hurt or fade the colors? Oh no, you could absolutely. I'm trying to think where mine is. I thought it was sitting right here, and I thought about it to share it with you. Oh, I do have it here. So when I got my, excuse me for a moment. When I got my Hemi gouache, so the Maya Hemi gouache came with this, which is actually a spray that you can spritz on. Now, of course, I can't read that. I don't speak the language. I definitely don't read it. But basically, this is something that you would spritz on your gouache to keep it from having anything like that happen. What I personally, if I'm using my gouache a lot, like when I'm done painting today, because I spritzed my gouache, but when I'm done, I will take, so this is 91% alcohol. It's like isopropyl alcohol. And I will put a little bit of this in with my distilled water, and I will spritz my gouache again, because that alcohol will kill anything. And no, it shouldn't affect your colors. I've never heard of anybody having a problem doing that. So I hope that answered that question. Sorry that I missed it before. If you get the color cubes, Dolphin Soul, you can use the reference photos. If you, and that's going to segue me perfectly right into the other thing. So thank you for the question. If you get the color cubes, you can use the references in your artwork. Again, these should be royalty free. And I will have to email Sarah and just double check, but they should be royalty free. And I believe some of these, like I said, you could find on Unsplash or Pixabay. There's some that I recognize, that I've seen, because I continuously, like if I'm in the car or I am bored, God forbid I'm bored, I don't ever have nothing to do. But if I'm like stuck in the car, I was doing that this weekend. I was just scrolling and I was looking for pictures to curate into my collection on Unsplash to build those up for you guys. So there's that. So I've seen a lot of them, and I recognize a few from on the royalty free site. So yeah. George said that was a nice fall picture. There's so many gorgeous ones in there. A lot of fall inspiration. We're all ready for it. Yes. And there's also a lot of winter stuff. There's also a lot of summery stuff. There's some really bright green spring feeling things. There's a lot. There is definitely a lot. Am I right in thinking that the two boxes have different themes? Other Tara asked. Great question. I have not taken all the cards out to look, but you saw as I was going through, like, we had sections where it was like, here's food, here's still life, here's plant life, here's, maybe animals, here's landscapes, here's buildings, you know what I mean? Like, so it seems, I think there's kind of a blend in between, but no pictures are repeated in one or two. So there's that. I hope that answered your question. I don't know. I need to pull up. I don't know if Rob was here, if Rob's still here. Because I know Rob has the online stuff where it should kind of break down. I don't know if it does the categories in what's in box 1, in box 2, but maybe he could help me with some of that information. What everybody's eating. I had a snack and I was like, I don't have time for lunch. And I came back up to the studio, and then Lou got home and I'm like, I still have a tiny bit left. I didn't have time to finish. All of a sudden he came in and he had brought me a wrap. Excuse me, to make sure I ate before we got together and hung out. Yeah, I'm looking at food pictures and you guys are all talking about food in the chat. That's funny. Okay. Ooh, number 60. Was 61 I pulled out, or did I put 60 back? I put 60 back. Cursey, Dolphin Soul, you're gonna have to tell me which one that was. Oh, and we're not, let me pull the cloud ones because those are going to be for a, those are specific. Sorry, guys. Those are specifically for a patron lesson that we're going to do. So it's going to be so much fun. I'm like really looking forward to it. Okay. Definitely 61 for later. Yeah, I'm like 60, 61. You're going to have to message me and be like, it was this. All right. The frog was so cute. Yeah, it did look like a Lisa frog. Oh, George says, I painted that same kingfisher. Yeah, see, that was definitely one of those ones. It was on like the royalty-free site for sure. For sure. Oh. Man. I cannot breathe today. Dolphin Soul asked if, and I'm not seeing Rob. I'm hoping Rob is like popping back in, but the kingfisher Rob did during our studio live, was that the same one? I don't know, but it did look similar, didn't it? So it is possible. And speaking of the studio live, tomorrow we have the live Zoom hangout for studio members. And I have going on right now a 7-day free trial over on Patreon for the studio membership tier. So if you're just like, I don't know if that's right for me, we're going to be Zooming tomorrow. We are actually all working on a project together tomorrow. So that would be a great one for people to come and check out and see what it's actually really like in Zoom. We have a project that everybody has kind of gotten together and said, we want to do something like this. So I'm working on that later tonight and tomorrow morning to have everything set up. But there's a 7-day free trial. So if you go to Patreon, you can go to the studio tier. There will be a 7-day free trial. Once you're set up with your 7-day free trial, you're going to see, I will post in the morning, I will create a post that's just for studio members. They will have the links. And of course, it will be on the Discord as well. Now, when you become a studio member, I told you guys, Discord gives you guys a lot of perks. When you are a studio member on Discord, it opens up every channel on the server. And there are a bunch. So you not only get help and questions, tips and tricks, all of us pigment nerds when we start talking about pigment. So there's actually a channel, Pigment Nerds Unite. Again, work in progress, finished artwork. Those are super fans that have access to that immediately. Super fans have access to the resource center, which is where help and questions is, tips and tricks are, pigment nerd stuff, the curated collections, general chat, and announcements. Those are all super fan can access. Super fans can also play Guess the Mix, where on Sunday or Monday morning, I post pictures of the mix that's going to be in the Monday mix video. And you have to try to figure out what pigments and their color names are in that mix before the video drops. And they are actually playing for prizes. I record everybody who guesses correctly, the first person to guess correctly, and I'm doing a giveaway at the end of the year. So that's something they can be entered into. There is a request a mix. There's behind the scenes. Community members open up even more channels. It's the community break room, where you can just pop in and talk to other community members. Maybe you have questions for things that are similar around your tier. There's the community break room. Let's play a game. It's like take a bunch of artists, put them on little tiny digital devices, and let them play something that's kind of like Pictionary. It is a whole lot of fun. It is hilarious to watch artists try to draw on their little tiny screens and get everybody else to guess it. We have a lot of fun with that. So Let's Play a Game is open to community members. We have art challenges once you're a community member. And of course, we have our live chat Friday mornings. I will be on live chat tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. When you become a creator member, Discord opens up even more to you, and you have the creator break room where there's a lot of discussion about the next adventure in Watercolor Land and things we're going to be painting and what we're going to be doing. You have the reference photo channel that I've already mentioned. Adventures in Watercolor Land, it's your quick access to all the videos that I put out for patrons and members. And of course, you have a quarterly Zoom Hangout. Quarterly Zoom Hangouts happen in March, June, September, and December. So those are yours there. But then studio members, all the channels open up and you have the studio break room, and studio members get in there and they talk a lot. It's a lot of fun. It is one of my favorite rooms on the server. Then we have our monthly live Zoom Hangout channel and special requests, because studio members can submit special requests to me for maybe things you want me to paint. Like last week when we painted a shark, that came from our very own Dolphin Soul, and it was a special request. So yeah, you have that opportunity. But there's a 7-day free trial for that, and that would allow you to have access and join us over in Zoom tomorrow. So I hope you guys will consider that. Like I said, so many benefits. If you have been gifted a Superfan membership and you haven't connected it to Discord, you're missing out on the majority of your benefits, because there's so much there. So much. And I'm very, very interactive with people there. That reminds me of an evening in Sedona, Arizona. I'm guessing that it was one of the things I had shared. I'm sorry, the chat was scrolling and I was not seeing it. So yeah, Cadmium Red Feral Kitten. I have the boxes and I downloaded the digital stuff. So I have that in my box drive, like online, so I can just access it wherever from like my tablet or whatever, and I can go in there and look, and I can see them digitally, or I can print them out, or things like that. That answers your question. It was the whole package. Hey Shanna. Okay, so that Wildflower had said questions got missed, but we just got them. If she got the boxes or the big set. So yeah, I got the boxes, and I have access to the digital side of things too, which let me say, hey, you know what? I want to paint something. And this is the other thing. I'd be like, I feel like painting with blues today. I want to paint blues. And I can just say, show me blues. And it'll show me the images that are prominently blue. And then I just have I'm looking at all these images that could inspire me because I feel like painting with blue. Or maybe it's turquoise. Or maybe it's, put your color in and find out how many amazing pictures there are. They're really excellent. Shanna has them too, don't you? Shanna, you have the color cubes. Okay. What is from 3 at 6 p.m.? Maya, you're asking. We're 6 p.m. Next week, I will be 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Normally, it has been 3 p.m. on a Thursday since I started streaming, with only having breaks from when I was sick and I couldn't be on camera and painting. But thank God, the past year, I haven't had any issues. Knock on wood. Not seriously knocking on wood. I'm not tempting fate. But yeah, it's always been from 3 to 5-ish. And yeah, it has to change. I have schedule stuff that's going to happen. And so I'm trying out 6 p.m. next week. Hopefully that works and we will have our time. Yeah, so I'm telling you right now. So absolutely, right now I'm saying next Thursday, I will be live at 6 p.m. What are we doing? I don't know. What are we doing? Drop me a comment and let me know. What would you like to see me do next Thursday in our new time slot to welcome in hopefully we'll have some other people that might then be able to see the stream come and join us. So what are we going to paint next week? I don't know. Hopefully, we're going to do something fun. We're definitely going to paint something. And so yes, Cadmium Red Feral Kitten says they are royalty free. So yes, you can paint them. It's the moisture. And I don't know. I don't want to throw stuff out there at you and say, oh, it's this or it's that. I would look it up and get more information. And Dolphin Soul, and I will tell you the answer to that question. So Dolphin Soul asks, is there a reason that gouache mildews more than regular watercolors? I would imagine it has to do with its binders and its moisture, and we don't want it to dry out, right? So not everybody wants their gouache drying out. They like to keep their gouache wet. So it stays in a wet, moist, and like that water will stay in there now for quite some time. That's what could cause mold to grow. We could introduce it just by painting, or bacteria. We could introduce it with our paintbrush from our water, things like that. So that's why, like gouache, if it's like something like this and I'm going to keep it, I try to go distilled and then definitely give them a spritz. Put a little bit of the isopropyl, like the 90, into some water, shake that up and give your gouache a spritz. And that little bit of alcohol is not going to hurt your gouache, but it should help keep down any of the nasties that could grow in gouache. And I think that is actually probably the best answer. I thought so too. I'm going to reach out again just to make 100% sure, because I don't like to give out information when I am not 100% factual about it. So yeah, I will reach out again, but I am 90% positive they are. Oh, thank you. Yeah, go ahead. Smash that like button. If you're having fun, smash that like button. Guess what? We're about to talk about something else that I am like so excited to share with you. I still have a couple that aren't here. I was going to wait till they all got here to share them with you. But they worked with what we were talking about today. So let's look at another option to you. Okay. There's color cubes. Yes. You've got Unsplash on the, computer or on your tablet. Yes. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm saying, hope you feel better soon. I'm not sick. My asthma is going crazy. That's about it. My coughing is because I made myself run just before the stream and my asthma is flaring up, and my inhaler is, was, I swear I saw it earlier sitting right here. Yeah, right here. So, things got really bad. I would just take me off camera, do my inhaler, and then come back. But my inhaler usually does not help. I have to do a nebulizer when my asthma starts flaring. Okay. I'm just making sure, because yes, I just wanted to make sure that I had all of, oh, wait a minute, there it goes. I just want to make sure that I had all of your questions, because we're going to paint something. I want to paint something quick. There were a couple of those that I thought, oh, I might be able to paint that pretty quickly. We're going to try to dive in and do that, or maybe we'll see something else. Because you don't always need to draw everything out. You don't always need to transfer your image perfectly. I'm going to show you a way, because again, today is all about us deciding what to paint, right? Because deciding what to paint can keep us from painting. So it's all about making that decision and loosening up and getting started. Just get started. That's really, I have to remind myself of that all the time. I'm not just saying that to you. I have to remind myself of that all the time. Chris, Dolphin Soul says, we all found out I cannot draw. It is the funniest thing. She's talking about playing the game. It is the funniest thing. Like, you can see them as they're drawing it start showing up on your screen. And I mean, there's been a couple times I'm like, huh, what? Like, what is this? Oh, that's what it is. Oh my goodness. Anyways, it's a lot of fun. Okay. Could you add a drop of rosemary or clove oil to stop the tendency to mildew? So, excuse me. Clove is a natural, like, antibacterial, antifungal type thing. Plant, whatever. The oil. Could you put a drop of clove oil or a couple drops of clove oil in with your water and shake it up and give a spritz? You absolutely could try that. Is it going to affect the longevity of your painting? Could things change color? I don't know. So for me, these two things are very clear. I don't see this affecting the color. It is absolutely going to help me prevent it. And again, I don't have this linked, but they sell the spritz. Like for the Hemi gouache, they sell the spritz for you to spray your gouache because Hemi gouache stays very wet. And they sell that for you to spritz it when you're done to make sure that no fungal or bacterial or anything like that can grow in your gouache. So there's that. I hope that helped. And I am finally caught up. Are you guys ready? Okay. These I have linked below. Now the link is going to take you to like an Amazon searched page. Okay. Yes, Maya, that is absolutely, for those of you who are like, how do I treat my gouache? Sarah Burns Studio here on YouTube. She did a whole gouache study on if I treat it, if I don't treat it, what happens, how can this be? And it was wonderful. Highly recommend if you're really interested in what do you need to do, or do you even need to do anything? I can tell you right now that aside from distilled water and a little bit of fine mist of the rubbing alcohol, that 91%. If you guys search back, I don't even remember when this was done, but when I put these in this palette, nothing's happened to these paints. But I've always used distilled water, and I've always taken care of them when I close it back up with the spritz so that nothing can grow and it'll stay good for a long time. Let's just say that you're not a fan of Unsplash or Pixabay, and you're like, you know what? Everybody's using those. I don't want to use that because that's what everybody's using. I finally found a picture I wanted to paint. It was on the thumbnail, right? I finally found a picture that I wanted to paint, and somebody just painted that picture. Now I can't paint that picture. Well, one, yeah, you can. You can absolutely paint that picture, but I get the whole, I don't want somebody to think I'm copying them, or, whatever other mindsets and ways that we talk ourselves out of doing things. So then we're back off hunting, right? And that one goes in the I'll paint that later pile, and we're looking for more things to paint. The color cubes are a great way, but again, I did say some of those are royalty free and did come from these places that you're looking online. If you are a channel member or patron in the creator tier, then you will have access to my collections on Unsplash, which are growing and being added to all the time. Let's talk about these. If I can get these to turn. These, I have a couple more coming in. I finally think I finished my collection. Artist Photo Reference. There is this series of books, And anything in these books, and guys, I've got some books. Like, I've got some books. So we have got wildlife, flowers, birds, songbirds. One of these is a collector's one, and I don't know that it has come in yet, because it was a first edition collectible. The water and skies, landscapes, buildings, and barns. If you guys are on Discord, you know, I've shared these over there and showed you guys that they were in. But, and this one, I think this one is a collectible too, because this, which says Bart Rulon, if I pronounced that wrong, I'm really sorry. But this has a sticker on it because they printed the cover to say it was one of the Gary Green books, because there's a couple that do them. Gary Green and Bart Rulon have done them. And so it says Gary Green here, it says Bart Rulon, and underneath it you can see it said Gary Green. And when you go inside, make sure I'm not like show my, you know, it's about the author, and it is Bart Rulon is what it should be. So yeah, there's that. So I'm like, hey, that would be a collectible one because it was a misprint. But we have, let me get my, before I put information out I don't need to. These books, they have got so many photos, and you can use these in any capacity. You can pull parts from these references. I mean, oh my goodness, look at that bull. That's gorgeous. I love the light in his antlers. So these, I mean, this is our wildlife, right? Gorgeous photos. And then, let's see if I can do this and get them stacked back. There are flowers. And flowers, whoever had flowers loved flowers, because they were like, I've got like page markings here that came on my book. For people whoever owned it before, referencing back to different things. But look at some of these flowers, like, and they also show you, right, like different colors and how you would paint it. There are a couple things that like show you how you would set up your painting and how you would paint it. So flower references. What kind of flower do you want to paint? It's in here. So there's that. Lindsay also sings praises to these. Yes, she does. In fact, Lindsay, the artist friend of mine here on YouTube, the Frugal Crafter channel, she's the one who got me hooked on these books. And yeah, I can't thank her enough, because look at these. And I like, look at that. It even breaks down like the anatomy so that you know the parts of the bird. And then look at all these birds, right? I'm just going to do a quick scan through because, you know, I really do want to paint something and we only have a little bit of time left. Look at those. Plenty of birds to paint. So whether it is your songbirds or your wild birds like that. I mean, songbirds are wild birds, don't get me wrong, but songbirds, we think like these guys, right? Make sure, again, leaving all my information here. A couple of them just got here, like just got here before the stream. See, look at all the colors. Songbirds are so pretty. So many beautiful references that, guess what, guys? Everybody else is not painting these on Pixabay and Unsplash. They're not there. So this one shows you like how to paint the swan. It breaks it down for you. I saw one that just grabbed my attention a second ago. The swan. Like, I bet we could paint a swan so quickly. So quickly. I'm going to put that I'm actually going to take one of my little cards and we're going to set it here because we're going to decide what we're going to paint in just a moment. And we're going to do a really quick, easy painting because the goal here is to get out of what's keeping you, that decision, right? What's keeping you from painting. Let me see. So this is Water and Skies. And I love water. And I'm definitely going to be checking out the skies section. See, look at these waterfalls. Snow. Yeah, I love the snow. The whole section on snow and ice. Look at the colors. Right, that said snow and acrylic. Of course, I do watercolor, but I can translate from what one would do. And look at these. Oh, aren't they just gorgeous? And you can paint anything you want from these books. Anything in these books. And again, there's a lesson. And they have a couple lessons. Each book has a couple lessons that would show you how. And Wildflower said, I would love one on water. Seeing photos of how the light reflects would be very handy. Paint that simple orange green sunrise lake scene from the box. Orange green, that one. Like, not that one, right? That one, not that one. That one has the moon. I'm guessing that's the one that Cadmium Red Veil Kitten is voting for. Landscapes. So here we go. We've got the landscapes again. Like, look at that. I love that. Muted palette, but the light that comes through, that's gorgeous. That is one that I would be like, oh, I'm going to tackle that. So just know, all of you in the creator tier, when I said that the Adventures in Watercolor Land series of videos was going to get harder as we go along, I have had that in mind as I decided to get the reference books. And certainly with the color cubes, because I think these will push me. And then we have Buildings and Barns. And Buildings and Barns, see just what it says, Buildings and Barns. And I do have a couple more that are on their way. Like, it has Victorian style, colonial style. I think they said Santa Fe, late 20th century. Different engines showing you how to put a painting together. Storefronts. So you have got, and then we've got like sheds and some of the rundown buildings, and look at that, the old gas pumps. There's so many pictures in these. And guys, I just picked up 5 or 6 to finish off my collection, and I don't think I spent more than $60. You got to look, because they put them on used. You can buy them brand new. If you're like, no, I like my books brand new, more power to you. You can buy them new if they're available. But you can absolutely get them from the used section on Amazon, and you just have to click see more or available options. And I can tell you that with all of my books, I always choose, if a used book is available and it's a better deal, I mean, if it's $1 less than the original, I'm just going to buy the original new book. But if it's like $5 or more less, then chances are I'm going to buy the used one. And I look for used, like new condition, very good condition, or sometimes I've done good, but only if there was like no used very good or like new available. And then one of them, like I said, is a collector's first edition that I found, and I was like, okay, I'll pay. It was less than the brand new book, but it was a little bit more than like the very used good book that I could have had. But I was like, I don't care what the collector's one. So, it's just a choice. Okay. So we have Cadmium Red Feral Kitten says, paint this one. Top card, orange, green, black colors. I love it. I love it. And Art and Diamonds with Esky says, oh, I like the one beneath it. I'm guessing you're meaning this one right here. Super, super easy painting. Okay. I showed you guys Songbirds, right? Did I show you this Songbirds one? Pretty sure I did. I don't know why it's on this side instead of that side. I showed you these guys. All of these. Beautiful. Look at the colors. Songbirds have like such gorgeous. Oh yeah, because I put this in here for the swan. That's why I set it aside. But all right, we have votes for doing one of these right here. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna use my Daniel Smith colors. So we're gonna paint with that. All right. So we had 369 was the one that Art and Diamonds with Esquisse was asking about. This one, which is a super, super easy, fast painting to do. And then we had, and I'm loving this one. That's going to be a future one for sure. So, none of these are ones I'm going to want the texture of rough paper. Okay. So, we're going to move that aside. We will use our rough paper. I've promised Meaden, I'm going to show them. We just need a project to really see it on. So, Dolphin Soul said 369. That's this one. And actually, it is 440. What I think I'm going to do, I have a couple votes for this one. This is what I think I'm going to do. I know darn well I can paint this in the amount of time we have left. Not a problem. For those of you who are going to want to paint along, I will put a timestamp. I try to do navigation afterwards so that you will be able to, if you're watching on the replay, you'll be able to click through the different options of things to choose to help break you out of that I don't know what to paint because I can't decide what to paint, or I can't paint because I can't decide what to paint kind of thing. It'll have timestamps for those different sections, and then once we've made a choice, and we're going to paint. So for this is what I'm going to do. This one, because I have 2 votes for this one, and because of our time, this is going to be super, super easy. I'm going to paint this one. We will have this one finished on time. This one's going to take a little bit longer. So next week, we aren't going to be talking about, excuse me, we aren't going to be talking about all of the things that got us to here. So we're going to paint this one next week. I hope that works. So then I know already what we're painting next week. Oh, Cadmium Red Feral Kitten. That was for used. I watch them. I watch them all the time because new ones will come up. New ones will definitely come up. And as they do, yeah, because I spent $5 on a couple of them. I spent I want to say a couple were $6. There was one that I spent $15, but they all kind of fluctuated. And then they only had okay, I have to breathe. But they only a couple of them had the I don't know what a couple of them had. There was the shipping. All of them had shipping. It was only a couple dollars for shipping for me. All right. So let's see how we get this started. All right. With our, I can come back now. I just had to do my inhaler. Hopefully it'll help. It's gonna make my hands shaky as heck, but this isn't gonna matter if my hands are shaky as heck. I have some Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White. You know what that's gonna be for, right? This little guy right here. We gotta paint in our moon. I might make that a little bigger. It's like so tiny. All right. So first thing we're gonna take and set up our page. So I got the Meeden 100% cotton, cold pressed paper. Love this paper. I'm gonna hold it this way, and we are going to match and see. I'm gonna match it to my paints. I can't do it that way. So definitely, we are going to want. So for our dark brown, you see here on the hill, let me bring that up. It gets lighter. It's lighter, like right through here. I think I'm going to use Shadow Violet for that. So hopefully I can pull these colors out so it won't be such chaos. I don't think I'll need the gouache. Maybe in here, but maybe not. So I want Shadow Violet. We're going to use that color. Okay, so that's going to get me here. Now, they probably mixed it with like some of this to get that color, but I just think Shadow Violet on its own will be fine. And this is a guide. And then we're going to grab, I want Raw Umber. That's going to be our dark brown. Okay, this one is going to look a little bit like, yeah, I think, I don't have it swatched, but I'm thinking Lunar Earth, which is PBR11, Lunar Earth. Is Joseph with us? Is Joseph here right now? We are going to use, which is this one? Cobalt turquoise. Look at that. I'm thinking cobalt turquoise. I am. Great. You have a package on its way to you, which hopefully is going to arrive before Monday when you stream. So yeah, let's just take a quick moment while I'm thinking of it and talking about it. For those of you who are not familiar with our moderators, Tara Giblin and Art of Joseph Fincham, they both have channels here on YouTube. I hope, if you have not yet, that you will check them out. Joseph streams every Monday at 3 p.m. We won't be able to say we stream at the same time anymore. Joseph streams every Monday at 3 p.m. And I moderate in his chat, so come and hang out and say hello. I would love to see you there. And yeah, so Joseph, I had told him last time, there's Tara. So Tara and Joseph, there's our moderators. So I had told him last time that you guys are going to see me just swatch something real quick because I want to test something out. Wait till you see how fast this paints together. Like, this is just gonna, I put all my, like, where are my brushes? I put them back in the, oh no, I totally lost my train of thought. Joseph is doing way better than me. He last week did his, all his World Watercolor Month prompts into a concept design. And you were going to have beach sand. And so I said, well, you need buff titanium for beach sand. And he said, I don't have buff titanium. So it's on its way. And then I sent him some, oh God, they're going to make such a mess. Please be careful opening those containers. Please, dear God, let them stay. I closed the containers. So I put them in containers like this. So they're in these as far as the powders go, because I sent him some of the Schminke Aqua Bronze powders. I had gold, silver, and copper. And so these actually do click closed. So not only did I click them closed, I taped them closed so they could not spring open en route to you. And then I put them in like a little bubble sleeve and then put them in the envelope to send. So hopefully all is good. And I did not. All of you watercolor artists are going to be like, what? I did not dry out that buff titanium before I mailed it. However, I have little clear jars that screw together. So I put some in the bottom of that. I screwed the lid on. It might not even be dry when you get it, which means you could then transfer it into a half pan if you wanted to. But it's on its way. And hopefully, they said 3 days. I'm like, all right, I want it there. I want him to have it by Monday because I don't know if he's painting that yet. I don't know what's happening. So, yeah, that's there. All right. What I'm doing, guys, is I am looking at matching like this color. I'm trying to see what I think would be good for that. I was looking at a little perling green to be mixed in. So like this would be perling green, and I would mix it with that cobalt turquoise, which is here. That's a little warmer than I want. Yeah, it's crazy. Oh no, Joseph, that jar of Bleed Proof White, if it's sealed like around the rim, just like soak it in some hot water. It should open it up. And if the water gets into the Bleed Proof White, it's not going to hurt it. I would just take the whole thing and drop it in a bowl of hot water, and it would probably loosen right up. All right, so I don't like the perling green option. I'm just looking for that really dark turquoise is what I need, and I'm not liking my options. Oh, wait a minute. And again, I don't have my full palette, like, so I did find a palette that might work. I think I shared that earlier. The tan color piece, I'll show you that part in just a second there. It's got to get darker. I mean, we don't have to be exact. We don't have to be exact. I wouldn't want PBK 11 because that's going to be more heavily granulating. And that with that, maybe. And this is not even really watercolor paper. I'm just mixing things up on a regular piece of like, there we go. Maybe that. All right. So the answer to that, George, the tan color, I'm trying to get it out. Buff titanium. I can adjust this buff titanium to be warmer with my, I'm thinking with the lunar earth. Let's just look at that. That's pretty, it's pretty close. Anything, if I need to desaturate anything a little bit, I can always make a shade, right? Because I'm going to bring black in. So my palette is going to be just slightly larger than 5 colors. Just because I'm going to mix some to get my colors. It's a little rosy on here, but perhaps we'll do that. Because I have a feeling if I do that, and that's going to give me one similar to that. My whites aren't even in here. I'm not going to go digging for them. So I'm using the buff titanium, and we're just going to make it work, and it will be fine. Okay. So our colors. Are you guys ready? Let me get these. I need this one, which was not my favorite PBK11. This is Lamp Black PBK6. Right? I didn't want the granulation because this looks very smooth. So I didn't want the granulation that was going to provide. Let's get these into a palette and let's paint this because it's only going to take us a very, very short time if I can find us a palette. If I can find us a palette. How about the lid? Yep. All right. We're going to take the lid of this one. Give me just a second. Hi, Michelle. I thought that your concept art was so good. I loved it. I'm like, oh, just keep it like that. It's going to be so much fun because it's fun. And I think that's what the month is all about. And I'm like so depressed because I haven't been able to have the fun and get caught up with World Watercolor Month. So I need to live vicariously through you. All right, Lunar Earth, I decided against. I've got Burnt Sienna right there. I have my PBK6 for when I need to make a shade or a tint. We have our umber. So there's umber, the burnt sienna. That's going to give us our pink. There is our green. This is the in-between. Our umber down here and back there. And that is shadow violet, which is gorgeous. Let me just double check that so I can see. See that shadow violet? I think that'll be right there. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, that just looks like shadow violet. All right. And I'm just going to set this on that little, oh no, here's my regular one. I'm like, that had my perling green and I don't want to dip into that from last week's mix. Okay. Are you guys ready? These are our colors. These are our colors. And then I have the black. So there's our little limited palette. Just wake those up. Grab my pencil here. And what I'm seeing is a really lot of sky. This one's going to paint really fast, guys. So yeah, we're going to go a little bit over, but not too bad. Does the color cube cross-reference Daniel Smith colors? No, it does not. No, it doesn't. It doesn't, but you know what, Bo Peep, because I mean, that's a great question. It does not. And that's one of the things like that I was questioning, like when I was trying to consider, is that something that's going to be for me? Hold on, let me just, so that I can talk in, I want about here. We're going to come kind of down. Here it comes in a little, about halfway. So if it's there, halfway would be about there. Comes up. Comes across. About there. I'm not going to worry about my lines. I'm not going to worry about my lines because they're going to be very dark. I'm just making like a little note to myself here on the side that I have my color transitions about there. I'm not going to worry about the moon because the moon, that'll go in after. Okay, let me just set this right here so that you guys can continue to see it. And I apologize about the lights. If you guys are on Discord, you know that I came up to the studio to work. Oh my gosh, yesterday, because it was still Prime Day, thank goodness. Turned on my light and my big overhead lights just were burnt out. They were gone. So that was fun. That was tons of fun. Oh, I took my kneaded eraser. I'm not going to worry about it. I was like, normally I would need an eraser. I would lift some of this up. Mine's in my go bag. It's not up here, and that's going to be dark anyways. Let's start from the top, shall we? I need a much bigger brush than this. I am not going to work with my size 6 round. We are going to want, where's my 10? If you guys have gotten the stuff from the curated collections, then you would have the size 10 round. That was one of the first Velvet Touch brushes we got in collection number 2. If you did the add-on, if I wouldn't have missed that foolish extra order from Blake, I would have had the big 1.5 inch modeler brush from the Aqua Elite line. That would totally, I was like, oh, that will wet my paper so fast. I mean, I have, don't listen to me crying like I'm, like it's, I have a hockey brush sitting right here that I could use to wet this very quickly. In fact, you know what, we're going to, because we don't have the time. So I was going to use my 3/4 wash, which you absolutely could use that to wet your page. I'm just going to grab a hockey brush because this is goat hair. These are so soft, they hold a ton of water. Once you get the water sucked up in it, they hold up a ton of it. And I'm going to just wet this paper down. And I'm just going to wet the whole thing. I really don't need the bottom part wet. Like, I could have painted that wet on dry. And in the studio, I know it's going to dry by the time I get there, so I'm not worried about it. Okay, so we're going to wet the whole page. Must have had dust gathered in my hockey brush because now I have fuzz on my paper, but that's fine too. I guess it would only be worse if I had a cat in the studio. That's not gonna happen. Yeah, so I was answering Boo Peep's question about the watercolor brands. As I go along and I use these more, it's definitely something that I would be like, hey, this in this brand, this is what I use for that. You know what I mean? Because I know sometimes that's daunting, right? It's like, how do I know? How do I know what colors it would be? And I'll have to message Sarah and I'll tell her that the question was asked and that it is something that could be of value, at least in my sphere, for watercolor artists using them. I'm mixing a whole bunch because we're going to paint this guy. Big sky. Big sky. Okay. And I need to darken that up, remember? So I'm taking just a little bit of the PBK 6. We're going to darken that up, and that's going to give me this color. So in mixing, you know, we do mix video every Monday. So if mixing is something that you're still unsure of or wanting to learn, certainly I invite you to join us on Mondays. And who asked that question? That was My chat scroll. Boo Peep. Boo Peep, didn't you? I should be able to see right on your name. Yeah, so you've been gifted membership, or you purchased a channel membership. You can actually get connected to Discord. And if you connect to Discord, that's a great place for more learning and being able to ask and get help with that kind of stuff. So this needs to be darker. Look, see how that's dark? It also feels bluer. I'm not liking that. I want more blue. I will be so happy once I get my Daniel Smith palette done, organized. I know where every single color is. I don't have to question. I don't have to go hunting. It's going to be so wonderful. I know it's a granulator, but I'm grabbing some soda light. Like, I don't even care. That was soda light, right? I looked and then I moved it. Yeah, that's lunar blue. I don't want lunar blue. I don't want phthalo. I have discovered lately I am really not a fan. Yeah, there we go. That's going to bring a little bit more blue that I want into it. All right. So it was the soda light mixed in with our cobalt turquoise and a touch of our black. We need this to get darker. It's much darker up here. My paper is feeling like it's going to be dry. I'm not worried about how this edge has moved, but I do want to make sure my paper stays wet. The one thing I love about this Meeden cotton paper is it doesn't cry when I drown it. It's fine. It's just fine with it. It's like, all right, I'll play in the water. It's like a kid at the beach. I've got this slightly elevated. I'm like not seeing where my, I don't know. Usually I have a thing I can stick underneath it to keep it elevated. I want this to run down because it gets lighter as we go. Just gonna keep working this edge. All this up, and we got to start to transition this more into our turquoise. Cadmium red Pharaoh kitten. For these Velvet Touch brushes, don't you have the Aqua Elites? Do you have the Aqua Elites? I thought you said you did. And let me just say this about that. If you have the Aqua Elites, I mean, you probably have a brush that is definitely going to hold a little bit more water than the Velvet Touch. I think the Velvet Touch holds a little less water than the Aqua Elites. As far as snap goes, I think the Elites and the Velvet Touch have very similar snap, if you would, to the brush. We gotta get lighter. We gotta get lighter. If I did this and I thought, these are granulating and I don't like it, and I want it to be smoother, I could absolutely paint this in gouache, right? I could just paint this whole thing in gouache. I'm putting in more of my turquoise, so you start to get more turquoise going there. And my mark is about here where I need to pay attention because I'm gonna have a color shift happen. So I'm gonna take what's on my brush and I'm gonna just keep working. I'm gonna lighten this, let it lighten as I go. Right? I'm not gonna come back into more paint because I need to transition that. And I'm gonna blend this, get that to blend going upwards. Usually, like, see, if I stopped right there, I'm gonna get that weird line. And normally I don't care in my skies. Normally I really embrace some random marks because I think it just looks like clouds. But trying to paint this reference, it's not like that. You know, the clouds just aren't there. All right, we're going to put a little bit more in here. Get that away from it. There we go. This paper is really, really buckled. But honestly, you don't have to worry about it. It will, if I leave this on my block, this Meeden will dry so nice. And I'm just kind of corralling my paint to one section so I can dry off a spot and have room for my next color. All right, so next up we need to get into our little peach area here. And where'd it go? There. Okay. Let's mix up some of that. I'm going to take my buff titanium. And we want some of that burnt sienna, just a little bit, right? Just a little bit. We want that kind of peachy look, and it's feeling like it needs a little bit of like almost like a blush. I don't know if there's anything that's going to work in here. I just barely touched my Pyro Red. I was just trying to bring it a little bit more that way. Maybe Quinn. Tiny touch. There we go. All right. I think that's pretty close to what we're seeing there. So this is still very much wet, and I want it to stay that way because I want this. This is gonna like want to push up into that space, and that's fine. Oh, right here. The palettes are so much fun. Yeah, palettes are so much fun. Gotcha. Okay, cadmium red feral kitten. I got you. So if you just have bought the like one of each, I don't want to cross over too much here because I'm not going to make a weird green in that. So we're just going to keep that going like that. And now we need to bring in more of our burnt sienna and start this transition. I'm just going to come right into this, mix those two up. Right back down. Again, your watercolors are going to lighten as they dry. So this is not intense enough yet. And I'm going to bring it right to where my mountains are. And my mountains are a little damp from me tipping my board, and I had all that water. So you see there's water down here. I don't want this to bleed down. So by dabbing on that area right up to the line, I'm going to pull enough water off my paper that's going to prevent this water from traveling. Even though this paper is damp, it could feather slightly over that edge, but it's not going to come down that far. And then we need to get even more intense here. So I'm just kind of look at my color. Oh, I'm almost there. It's pretty close. And that definitely touches. You see it spreading up? It's not spreading down because I dabbed and dried that off. It's going up. And we certainly have more of a line that comes through. Now, because this is very wet, if I just walked away right now and left it and let this dry, this could keep traveling. I don't necessarily want that to happen. So you're going to see me grab my dryer in a moment, and I'm going to hit that. I want to fix this edge first because I don't want spidery veins going up the sky. That's not what the sky looks like. So the way that I am going to fix it, I got my brush clean. I have my sponge. You guys, if anybody's new here, I keep a sponge up there, and that's how I control water from my brush. So pulling that out. So now I don't have, this is a thirsty brush. It is not dry, but it is not going to flood water in here. And I just want to gently come through. And I'm actually going to work my way back towards the mountain so that if I push any paint, the darkest spot is going to be where it reaches my mountain, right? Because I didn't want those spidery veins up top. I wanted it to be a nice, smooth transition and not like spidering. You know what I mean? Like the little finger like popping up there. But look at that. So far, there we go. But I'm seeing, look at, you see this right here? These might be the colors, but I'm actually seeing a little bit of like a purple in there. I kind of like that. And I think we can pull that off. I happen to have, it is, let me just bring it over and show you. I'm like looking, is it this one or is it that one? I think this one will do it. Wisteria. So Daniel Smith's Wisteria. It's a more opaque color. It contains a white. There's also lavender, which is like, let me see. Do I want that? Or do we want this one? Which one's going to go better? I'm like, I'm just seeing that like almost purpley color in there. And that's lavender. Actually, I think I'm going to mix the two and call it right. And that I'm seeing kind of right here at this transition. You guys see that color? Little wisteria, little lavender, bringing the two together. This is not super wet paint, so it's not going to push a bloom because I have more paint, less water. Okay, so I'm trying to do as few strokes as possible, but I just want to get some through here. Like I don't want to like scrub over and blend colors together. I just want it to feel like it kind of sits on top, like what I'm seeing in the reference photo. And that is another thing. If you use one of these photos and you're like, yeah, but there's that color and that's not on the palette, there can be colors that are not on the palette. It's okay. Just grab the color and put it in there. It's okay. Like, you're the artist, and you definitely have your artistic license. If you don't, come see me. We'll get you issued one. You can make those choices. It's your painting. And it's okay. All right. See, now that I'm starting to like a whole lot better. Right there. I'm liking that a lot better. And I think this part right here is a little too light. This is the lighter part. That needs to darken up. And so I'm just going to grab that turquoise. I need to grab more because this is wet. And again, I don't want to push a bloom, which if I come into this area with more water and less paint, that's what it would want to do. It would make the other paint run away because the water would bully it. There we go. Kind of liking that better. What do you guys think? And we will have the bottom part finished up in no time. That is not going to take long at all. And see, this is starting to dry. You see how that looks like dry brush right there? Looks like it's starting to dry already. So all we have to do is get our paint just slightly more wet there because that paper can absorb some more of that water. Oh, and I used my, where'd it go? Soda light. Right? Start to get that blue going up there. Just a touch. That brush is pretty dry. Okay. Just a little bit of water. Now, I'm not going to worry because this can get darker as we go, and that top part is not dark enough. So, not by looking at the reference photo. So we're just going to keep working our way up our page and darkening that back up, and I think we'll have our sky. See, it's this dry, but I don't want to come in with that hockey brush. That's way too much water. But I can take this brush and go up, work my way up a little bit. Now I can drop my paint in. So I don't want to push some weird bloom because I have too much water or too much moisture in a space that was previously dry. That was the wrong blue. Hopefully that doesn't mess things up. And it's going to start getting more blue, so I'm just going to let that go. Right? Because this gets darker. Definitely. I gotta turn this around for a second. Because my darkest value needs to be up here. So right now I'm painting this kind of wet on dry. Okay, I have to be careful because that is a wet mix of paint. And I'm fixing it by adding more paint to it so that it now has more paint, less water. Okay, now I can keep going. There we go. See, isn't that a much better, darker sky like we're seeing up here? Remember, down here it's wet. It's going to be much more wet. So I'm going to be able to get a softer transition once I hit this space. Now I'm just gently kind of pulling that a little darker around the edge. Kind of is a little bit darker. Flip it back so I can see it. We can see it the right way. Hopefully everybody will be able to join me next week. I'm not sure which paint we're going to use yet. But thanks to Cadmium Red Feral Kitten, we do know what we're painting. So I will share that with you again before we're done. Again, I'm just darkening this up. Am I overworking it? Probably. And I could have let it dry and then come back through and just done another whole layer over these. But it's fine. I still think that this part of the sky was darker because it's nighttime. But this, how much is this looking like the bottom of that? It's just a matter of darkening this up and getting that transition. If time wasn't an issue, I would have let this dry. When it was too light, I would have let it dry, because then once it was dry, I could have come back through and I could have wet it again, and I could have done the same techniques again, come down through and painted it, and it would have been fine. It was harder for me because I was working with something that was damp, and the water will make that, you know, it'll make it move and do some funny things. And every time I think, oh, don't touch that, I go back and I touch it. And I'm not going to worry because it is the sky, and it does not have to be. I say this so many times, and you will hear me say it again. This is, I'm going for photo similar. I am not going for photorealistic. Okay? It's going to be similar to that reference photo, but not necessarily exactly that reference photo. Okay, here we go. We're going to paint in, we need our shadow violet. So I'm done with these. Just this Daniel Smith palette, like I don't even know where things belong anymore. I just kind of throw them back. Everything's like all crazy. Oh, UPS is here. I wonder if I'm getting one of my other books. I'm just cleaning a spot. This is a small palette. This is the lid to that little 24 well meet-in palette that we had from the first curated collection. I love this thing for mixing. Okay, shadow violet. Here we go. I probably don't need this big old brush, but you know, it's what I'm using. All right, so this is going to be a little bit lighter than, and I'm going to paint this wet on dry. So this paper, for the most part, is dry. I should have this dry. This might want to creep up when I touch it. Hopefully not too bad if it does at all. It's a distant hill. If the line's not perfect, I am not worried about it. It doesn't need to be. And again, I know my watercolors are going to dry later. Can you guys hear Tuka? She's letting me know that somebody was just on the porch leaving a package. Like, who needs a dog when I have a Tuka? Oh yeah, that is going to lighten up perfect. The way that that color is, I like it. Yeah, okay. I'm hurrying. Thank you all for sticking with me and watching me paint this one. All right, so next I'm going to have my raw umber. I'm just going to mix right in with that shadow violet because, you know, why waste it? And it's okay if it mixes in with the other color. And I probably could have picked sepia for this because sepia will have some black in it. I'm pretty sure Daniel Smith sepia has the black in it, but I have my PBK6. That's what we're going to use. Oh, and thank you. Hi, Heather. What's important is you're here. I appreciate you being here. All right, so I'm probably not going to be enough. You never want to mix up enough paint. This is a very, very creamy mixture of paint. And I am going to bring a little bit of water into this just to make sure I can get that flowing. All right, we're going to paint. We're going to paint our land down here in front. Perfect. Perfect. I like the color. It's going to be plenty dark. That is definitely going to look just a bit lighter like our reference photo does. I'm painting wet on dry. You see when I pull that out, very much dry brush. This paper is not wet. If this paper was wet, that would be like diffused. So I'm painting very much wet on dry. I want to keep the color the way it is. If I had the paper wet, you got to remember there's multiple ways to introduce water to your paint. I can add the water and put it on my palette. I can mix up my paint. I can add paint to my paper, and now I have water in my paint that's on my palette, and now water that's on my paper that's going to mix with my paint. All of these things can help make your paint get lighter. And I don't want this one to get lighter. So I'm painting it wet on dry paper. And my paint still is not flowing. And if I have to mix up more, I'm not going to worry about that, because I mixed it once, I can mix it again. Don't let that worry you. If you still have a little bit on your palette, you can mix it. Just keep playing until you get something that looks close enough. And remember, photo similar. Unless you hand somebody your reference photo with your painting, they're not looking at your reference photo. They're just looking at your beautiful painting. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Heather, you missed it. Next week, the stream time will be at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So 6 p.m. I have no idea. I have not been discussed with the mods if they are available at that time. I am hoping. I know that gets very late for Tara and other Tara. But as far as moderating goes, I know that gets very late for Tara. I don't know if that's going to interfere with stuff that Joseph normally does. So we're just going to take things as they come. I have had a couple volunteer to help me out if I need moderating, if they can't be here. So I'm not worried about that. And you guys are all great. So there really isn't. I mean, aside from them trying to help catch your questions and make sure that I see them, or dropping links where they need to be and stuff like that in the chat, you know, we're going to do our best. I just ask for your patience over the next couple weeks as I get adjusted into a new schedule. It is my hope that things like Monday Mix will still happen at its normal time. Tara Giblin says, I'll be here, bells on. All right, girl, it's going to be late there. You might be here with like, I want like bunny slippers and one eye open, maybe a nice soft blanket or something. And you see this? I'm not worried if, look, you see the variation here? I'm not worried if it does that. I'm painting land. The reference photo looks very flat. And guess what? If my painting doesn't look flat, it's just going to help add dimension. See how this is a little bit lighter near the foreground? I'm liking it. I'm not even going to worry about it. I could come back in and paint another layer, but I don't think I'm going to. I really like how that is. The shadow violet, look, I could even darken that up a little bit more now that I see this one. So I might do that real quick. And then I will dry the sky and we will put our moon in and we will be done. So thank you all for hanging out and staying later with me while we painted this. I really needed to paint today and it feels so good. So good to paint. And yeah, earlier me had no idea this is what I was. If you would have told me, I'm like, I don't think so. And I just kept staring at the page and I was like, that's it. That's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Because that's something that happens to me a lot. And I think sometimes like creators come on and we create, right? Here we are, we show up. This is our time and we create, and every week we create. Truth is, it's just as hard for us to come up with all the things to create as it is for some of you. And so I very much like to share that kind of stuff because I don't want you to feel like It's just you, or you're all alone. All right, I'm going to put my hand in wet paint here. I got to be careful. I'm darkening up the shadow violet color because I don't think it's quite dark enough. So we're just going to go one more layer in here. And again, if it is not perfect, I'm not worried about it. I want to design some t-shirts. We were talking about that earlier today on Discord with the Want Monster, but it'll be the Want Monster because, you know, he has a Maine accent, so it's going to be the Want Monster. Yes, Joseph, I did. I think I mentioned that, but I will mention it again. So yeah, I want to make some t-shirts with the Want Monster because trust me, the Want Monster got loose. I may not have got those Aqua Elites that were in my car. I almost did it last night, but I was laying there and I was adding stuff to my cart and I was in bed. I didn't have my glasses. I couldn't see anything. My eyes were not focusing. It's been a whole problem lately. And I was like, oh, I don't think I can. I'm not. If it's still there in the morning, then it's meant to be. So I got up and it was still there in the morning. I was like, hey, it's meant to be. I'm getting Aqua Elites. And then I was like, oh, let me just run down and put the mail stuff out because I had to get Joseph off his thing and I had to do a return. And I was like, an hour and a half later, I came back upstairs. Just 5 minutes. I ran downstairs, which turned into an hour and a half. And then I got here and I refreshed my Blick screen and it was like, it didn't say it anymore. You know, the banner across the top, it didn't say it. It still has the code accepted in my cart. Would they honor it? I don't know. I don't know that I'm going to risk that, but who knows? They'll do it again. So it'll be a little while before I get those, but yeah, I want the Aqua Elite brushes because I'm really enjoying the ones I have. Oh, thank you. That sky is dreamy. It reminds me of the mix you did recently trying to recreate Perylene Green. Yeah, Perylene Green was our last Monday mix. If you've mixed it, go check that out. We used 3 colors. None of them were black to create the black pigment that's not black, but the green color that doesn't have green pigment. It's not a trivia question. It's Perylene Green. Let me dry this. I'm going to mute you guys and I will double check chat while I do. And then we're going to put our moon in and we're done. Okay. And that palette cooled off in Soul. I love it. I'm like, look at that. That's Shadow Violet. That's Shadow Violet is doing that. And maybe a little bit of that PB36, the Cobalt Turquoise is probably bullying its way through. But isn't that cool? Like, It's like, which way? Look at all the, I love all the little lines. Very cool. Sometimes you gotta look at your palettes. Really, they're really pretty neat. Okay, Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White. We need a moon. It's gonna be right about up here. I'm gonna be brave. I'm not even gonna sketch it in. I'm just gonna go willy-nilly and do it freehand. Why not? What's the worst that could happen? Oh. Okay. But I was also, while I was checking chat, Tara with the tape holding her eyes open. Oh, Barrylina says that we'll have to catch it on the replay. I hope you do. And I don't know if this is a permanent change yet. So, and Art and Diamonds with Eskies asked what caused the change in my schedule. There's just family stuff that I need help out with. And that's going to need my attention. And I won't be able to be here during my normal time slot. So, yeah. Okay. There we go. All right, let's put ourselves a moon. So this is just like a little Cheshire Cat moon, right? It's like way about up here. Let's see if we can't pop that in. And I might make mine a little bigger. I told you guys that. So it's just like a backwards C. And guess what, guys? It's a backwards C. But if backwards C's intimidate you, guess what? Flip it over. And now it's like I'm just writing my last name. It's a Clark moon. That's no moon. My brush did not have enough water. I took too much water out of it, so the P.H. Martin's is not flowing. Okay. And you want to make sure before you put Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White on something that whatever that something is that you are putting it on is absolutely dry first, because it's only bleed proof if what's underneath it is dry. Oh, see, I touched it the wrong spot. That's okay. We'll just adjust. Bring our point right there. How's that? Look at that. That is a bright moon. Let's turn him back around. So is that a waxing gibbous or a waning gibbous? Like not waxing and then it wanes off the other side. I think when it eats the moon from the left, right? And it leaves the moon towards the right. I don't know. I used to know. I wasn't liking the shape exactly. You could play with that all day long, couldn't you? Next thing you know, it's a full moon. That would be okay too. Just be slightly different. Don't show anybody your reference. Look at that. So there we go. I hope you guys like that one. Oh, now we gotta sign it. Whatever are we gonna sign it with? Oh, guess what? I am actually remembering. We had that conversation. I have my Bleed Proof White right here. I told you guys I would give it a try. We are going to try it. All right, wait a minute. Remember the last curated collection, I included the dip pen. And somebody asked if I could sign with Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White and a dip pen. And you know what? Well, we are just going to figure that out right now. Of course, I don't want to just ruin our artwork. So I have a piece of scrap paper. I am going to take my dip pen. Wow, my Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White is like, I actually might have to get some more soon. My dip pen in there. Let's just see. Let's just see what happens. Like, it's not wanting to flow that way. There may not be enough water. Okay, hold on. Just like I showed you with the last curated collection. We should have our next curated collection around, I'm trying for August. So if you guys have been liking those, I'm trying to bring the next one in August. I kind of have been liking doing them like every other month, because then that gives me a few weeks to paint with them and work with them with you, and then also time to do other things like this. I like Thursdays as kind of a place where you guys can come and paint along. And let's see. Oh, you know what? We're going for it. All right, so my moon's there. I think I'm going to sign. I'm going to sign over here. All right. You ready? It would take some practice. Signature's a little bigger than I normally would do. And isn't that bold, right? So guess what? Hold it down. Lift it up. Not as bold. Take a little bit of the stark whiteness away. There we go. Signature's still there, but it's not like sore thumb sticking out at you. And with my dip pen, all I can do is swish that in my rinse water. And wipe that off. So I had to thin it down with a little bit of water first, paint on to my nib, and then yes, to answer that question, could absolutely do your signature with Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White and one of your nibs if you got the dip pen or if you have a dip pen. So there's that. I hope that helps. I hope you guys enjoyed this one today. So we have, all right, I'm like still seeing the what caused the change in my schedule question. Let me make sure I haven't missed anything before I say goodbye to you and let you go. Palette's cool. You have to pay attention to your palettes, man, because, you know, sometimes I'll send pictures. I'll post pictures on Discord and share, like, here's what my palette looks like right now. They're pretty cool. And if anybody that has been following the, you know, my Daniel Smith and how do I get all of my Daniel Smith in one palette, I might have found the perfect palette. I might have found it. My fingers are crossed. I reached out to a company today and oh, look at that. I got water. See the water spot? Hopefully that doesn't, yeah, it's gonna lift. It's gonna lift all weird. I didn't notice that I got a drip of water on it coming back from the thing, so we're just gonna fix that up real quick so that, oh, it had soda light in it. Ew. Okay, close enough. Close enough. We're just gonna put a little bit in there. Color's not exact, but and it's not exactly staining either, so it's fine. There we go. We're calling it good. Good enough. Okay. So yeah, as soon as I can share more information, I can't wait to share that one with you if I can get my hands on it. Look at that. What do you think? I think Sarah would be proud. I am going to have to tag her. And thank you so much, Sarah Renae Clark, for these color cubes, for making this product. Again, Sarah did not send these to me, but they were a gift. So us watercolorists, yes, these are definitely something that can help. And if you are having problems staring at that daunting blank page, thinking, what am I going to paint? Just remember, these are linked in the description below. You could use something like your color cubes. You could use something like the artist reference photos books that I shared with you. This whole series, that is linked in the description below. And of course, if you are a channel member or a patron of the creator tier, creators create and they need photos. I share my reference collection with you guys through Discord. So there's that too. And all you gotta do when I'm frustrated, grab your favorite paper, grab your favorite paints. And I say that because you're most familiar with those. You know how they work, you know how they play. They're the ones that make you feel good. They're like my comfort paints. If I grab my Core or my Daniel Smith, just because I've been painting with them the longest. I mean, some other paint could come along and take that place, but you know, for now. And just start putting some paint on paper. It will absolutely inspire you, I promise. And, you know, I never would have expected this is what we were painting today, but thank you guys so much. Some of you picked it, and next week, Cadmium Red Feral Kitten, we will be doing your pick. We're going to be doing this one. I'm excited. I can't wait. I mean, like that green in that water, I would never have thought to put green in the water, but there it is. And I have an idea for this green, so we're going to be painting that next week. And maybe, just maybe, we didn't use it today. I'm just looking at all the wonderful colors that are actually in here, and let me see. We haven't done gouache in a long time. Oh, look at that. That green. Yes. 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 Okay, maybe we'll paint this with gouache. Yeah, we haven't done gouache in quite a while, and I have been just itching to paint something in gouache. So next week, we will do the card 075. I hope you all will consider taking a look at the color cubes and possibly picking up a set for yourself if that's something that is appealing for you. We will paint card 75 next Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. And thank you so much, Dolphin Soul. The Cave of Wonders from Aladdin. Oh my gosh, with the palette, like this one. I'm like, the Cave of Wonders is probably like right back over that hill. Doesn't that, you say that now and I'm like, this gives me that whole like Aladdin Cave of Wonders feel, the way the sky is. Oh my goodness. So anyhow, I'm just double checking chat. Boom Peep says, no scratch paper practice, just went straight forward. I'd be afraid of messing up such a beautiful painting. You're brave. As far as like when it comes to my signature, once I did the one little line on that page, like once I saw that line for my L come down, I was like, yep, I've got this. It'll be fine. So yeah, that wasn't so bad. Okay. So yeah, thank you, Dolphin Soul. Tomorrow, again, reminder, if you are a community member or above, we have live chat in the morning. We'll see you on Discord. That is 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. That will not change when my schedule changes. We're still fine there. For those of you with the studio membership, we have Zoom. Remember, I do have a 7-day free trial. So, and we're going to do a project together. We are going to be painting a project together. In fact, let me show you what it's going to be based on, because I can pull that in if I can find it super fast. I meant to do that earlier, but so it was requested by patrons. If you guys saw the video where I shared a lot of the work that I've created over the last few years with you guys, whether it be patrons or all here on the channel, there was a painting in there. There were a couple paintings in there that I have not shared. They were not videos. They were not public. And this guy. Okay. So I had a request. He's probably gonna pop up real big. There we go. For this guy. So the bear, I don't know if we're gonna do a bear because, I mean, clearly I've already done a bear. But we are going to do an animal design similar to this. So that's what we're working on tomorrow afternoon. Studio Zoom sessions. You all can join me in the studio. That starts at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Studio sessions. I'm usually in the studio till at least 5 o'clock. So you can pop in whenever you're available. You don't have to come for the entire thing, but usually, just so you know, 5 p.m. I'll still be sitting there probably, and we're going to be painting something that looks like this. So if that interests you, there is a 7-day free trial right now on Patreon. YouTube doesn't let us do that, so I can't do it on YouTube as well, but the tiers are the same, whether you're on YouTube or you're on Patreon, and all the benefits are the same. So over on Patreon, there is a 7-day free trial. If you would like to join us tomorrow on Zoom, where we're all going to paint that something similar to that together, I invite you to come along. Try it out. Maybe it's for you. You will definitely find out how you like Zooms by attending tomorrow's session. So yeah, I invite you all to do that. There is the trial available for you, and the link should be in the description if Joseph hasn't dropped it in the chat already. So if you're watching on the replay, links in the description. But yes, there you go. And of course, I will have how you get to the Zoom for all studio members. You'll end up with a post on Friday. So you'll get a post. There'll be a post on YouTube community space, Patreon space, and of course, Discord for how you connect to the Zoom to hang out with us and paint. So there we go. There's that. Thank you so much. Thank you, Shanna. Good morning from Australia. Good morning, Michelle. And there it is. So yes, thank you, Joseph. Art of Joseph Fincham just posted the link. So I think I remembered everything. Like, I sent them, like, please remind me of this and remind me of that. And I think that's all the information. Next week, we are going to do this one in gouache. So I'm going to be using Daniel Smith gouache. Guess what? If you have the Hemi gouache, if you have Winsor & Newton gouache, if you have whatever gouache you like, come on by. Bring your gouache. These are the colors we're working with. So if you have these cards, it's number 075. I can tell you we're going to work this up pretty easily. We are not going to draw just some few basic lines in, and we're going to just get right at it. I think we can do this no problem next week. So I invite you back. I hope you will come paint along with us. I think that's it. I think that's everything. What do you guys think? Did you enjoy this one? Did you like it? Like, does that help? I hope it helped you. I really hope it helps you, because if you're like me and you get that blank page paralysis, this helped. I needed this so much this week. I feel lighter already. I love painting. It totally takes all the anxiety away. Oh my goodness. So there we go. But yes, please do, if you've enjoyed it, give the video a like and consider subscribing. Subscribing lets you chat with us here in the comments during the live streams, and, you know, reminds you and tells you when we're streaming, especially with my schedule changing. I recommend clicking that subscribe button, turn on the notifications. Thank you to all patrons and channel members, because your support is definitely helping with what we're trying to do here on the channel. And those of you who are clicking the links, because you have been clicking the links, thank you so much. By clicking those affiliate links in the description, you know, the channel gets a few pennies back, and I can tell you that that just helped me give a few pennies back to Blick. But we have some great stuff coming, and it's going to help me get that palette, I think. you guys are going to want to see that palette. And you've asked me to show you when I put it together, so it's going to be a whole thing. But that Daniel Smith palette, I've been like missing my Daniel Smith paint, so it was so much fun to paint with him today. That's going to go into a whole palette all on its own. And there you go. That is where you can find over on Patreon. For memberships, there's a 7-day free trial. It is the studio tier. So you would want the 7-day free trial of the studio tier. I do 7-day free trial on the creator tier, but I usually don't promote that one unless it's a quarterly, where you'll be able to join in the Zoom too and kind of see everything that you would get. So there's that. Okay. Thank you so much to the moderators. Thank you for hanging out and sticking with me. Thank all of you who are here watching the replay. I greatly appreciate you all. And I'm going to pop another video up, and it's going to go right about there. And maybe that's in the video that you will like to watch next if you're watching on the replay. Until next time, my friends, I can't talk. We need a blooper reel at the end. Until next time, my friends, keep creating, keep painting, and I'll see you in a video real soon. Bye, guys.